Welcome to the Intrazone, Roadmap Pitstop May 2019 edition. This is a bonus monthly show that answers that burning question in your mind. What's rolling out now for SharePoint and related Microsoft 365 technologies? These roadmap episodes are the answer. This month, I talk with Edgar Banguero, Principal Engineering Manager, and Thomas Michon, Senior Software Engineer, both from the OneDrive SharePoint engineering team focused on all things full-fidelity shared libraries in OneDrive, alongside delivering fluent, powerful, consistent file experiences throughout Microsoft 365. Consider this the message center for everyone, not just for cloud admins. We'll keep everyone informed, current, and ahead of the ever-curving Microsoft 365 roadmap. We've got a lot of items to cover. The engines are hot. Let's drop the flag and off we go. Our first stop on the pit stop is going to be all about employee engagement. This is where you get to be loud and proud with the information that you're nice and final and finished and polished and spread it throughout the organization. The first one is in-geo storage for Yammer messages at rest for new EU customers. This is a big one, of course, if you live in the EU. Up until this point, your data has resided outside of the EU. Now, Yammer offers local data residency to help meet data residency requirements. That means your messages and any attachments to those messages are now located in the right region to help meet your data residency and the sovereignty that you signed up for. Next up is for Microsoft Stream. Now you can add your quizzes and polls right in line with the video. We do this by using Microsoft Forms, whether it's adding surveys for a recorded CEO town hall meeting, quizzes for flipped classroom videos, or assessments for employee training videos. You can take advantage of this new interactive capability to make videos in your organization much more engaging. Time to switch gears now from employee engagement to teamwork. What is it that you can now do with your team in Microsoft 365? First up for teamwork is now the ability to see your shared libraries in OneDrive in their full fidelity. This is actually a bit of a big dig project for us across not just OneDrive, but OneDrive, SharePoint, Outlook, and Microsoft Teams. With full fidelity shared libraries in OneDrive, you can now view everything that you have that you're actively working on from SharePoint and Microsoft Teams. When you think about instead of going out to Microsoft Teams or SharePoint, you can now get that rich experience right inside of OneDrive. So from OneDrive, click into a shared library and you can see all that glory, which includes viewing and changing views, sorting and grouping by custom metadata, pinning documents to the top, and of course those beautiful thumbnails will now appear right inside of OneDrive. Next up is we're expanding what you can do with sharing links when it comes to blocking downloads for Office files. We're updating this feature that lets users create sharing links to block downloads for when you use specific people links. We will allow users to create block download links from File Explorer, within the Office applications, and the rest of the apps which use the common Office 365 file sharing experience. And thirdly, column formatting data bars for number columns. This is a pretty simple one if you look at what we've done to enable column formatting in lists and libraries. But now when you use number columns with data bars and you add either a plus or a minus number, you'll see that this makes a horizontal color bar within the row, so it shows whether it's got more or less very visually. It's a really nice way to extend what we're doing with column formatting on more column types. Next up, we'll chat with somebody from the Microsoft SharePoint team all about full fidelity files for shared libraries in OneDrive. All right, we are here in Building 34 with Thomas Michon, who is a senior software engineer on the SharePoint and OneDrive team. Edgar Banguero, he is a principal engineering manager on the OneDrive and SharePoint team, but your whole team is just called the Files team. It's not the files for OneDrive, it's not the files for X or Y. Tell us a little bit about why you're the files team, and then, of course, what it is that you all do.
Thank you for having me. It was time to create a team that was going to create the core set of controls that we can use not only inside our own OneDrive websites or our own mobile apps, but also to ensure that those representations of files inside other apps like Teams or Outlook or different places in Office look the same. The goal was to have a team that specializes in providing a file browser control, a file viewer control so that you can preview the different formats that we support. Our file viewer right now supports 330 plus extensions, like ranging from video, 3D, PDF, audio, and there are many things that we convert, different formats that we convert to formats that we do have a preview for instance, like EPUB. We're able to convert it to a PDF with our microservice and then use our PDF viewer to see it.
And those previewers aren't just here's a little thumbnail. They're actually functional.
Right.
You can actually use the file before you really commit to doing more than just viewing.
Right.
You can do a lot of stuff right in the browser.
Right. 2 years ago, our list was only covering around 100, and we have been looking at our usage and then deciding what are the things that are going to have a lot of more impact initially, and then closing those gaps and having more partnerships with different teams inside Microsoft and externally to increase the range.
Thomas, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do on the team.
My name is Thomas, and as he said, I'm a senior software engineer on the OneDrive files and sharing team. One of the big, important scenarios or features that we like to distribute to as many places as possible is the ability to share files with others. So whether you're in the Office applications, whether you're in OneDrive, whether you're in Outlook, whether you're on a mobile device, or more recently Microsoft Teams, we want you to be able to find content that you like and share it with people quickly.
So maybe if we look at what your broader strategy is, you get the sense that you want to have this consistent files experience wherever you're at. Wherever you see a way to access file and do something with it, we want that to be the consistent experience. But maybe from a strategy perspective, you can also paint where we're coming from, the makeup of how we were building the product into where we're now aiming for.
So classically, people have seen a lot of stuff we do at Microsoft is very, you could say, application-centric. If you want to go work with your files, you go to OneDrive. If you want to go work with your team's files, you go to SharePoint. We've had chat applications. We have the Office desktop applications if you want to edit a document or edit a spreadsheet or create a presentation. And classically, I think people have seen these applications as very focused on what they do. If you want to share a file with somebody, classically, you are in Word, you save your file to your computer, you go open your email, you email it to somebody. If you are familiar with OneDrive, maybe you put it on OneDrive, maybe you try to send somebody a link, but the experience has generally been slow, and you have to sort of be aware in context what you're doing, where you might need to go next. There isn't really a quick jump to say, I'm working on this Word document, I want this other person to be seeing it right now. We have classically, as I said, been very application-focused, where first you do this, then you do this, then you do this, and you have to conceptualize your entire workflow if you have an objective. But with the strategies we've been employing now, it's more about, here are the things you can do with your document wherever you are. If you're in Teams in a conversation, and we've been talking about a document, somebody can actually put that document right in line for you. When you click on that document, you can view the document because we've made sure you have permissions to view the document at that moment. When you are in Outlook and you see a file on your hard drive and you want to attach it, now we can say, maybe you just wanted to share that because it was already in OneDrive. Let's let somebody be able to live collaborate with you. Don't just send them a copy, send them the real thing. You are part of a team, you want to share with the team, you want to share with your organization, and you want it just to work. You want to make sure that when the person you want to receive the document gets it, they can open it.
Edgar, you've built the sharing dialogue essentially so that it's not just a consistent experience, but it's a powerful experience that IT has control over,
right,
and that the end user also has control over too. Before they send anything, they can decide how they want to share.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about how you're developing that common control for sharing?
Yeah, definitely. So for sharing is one of the kind of like more mature and older ones that we have. We started that effort probably like two and a half years ago. And then the problem that we were facing back then was we would have the integration in OneDrive for Business on the web with new features like, hey, I want admin tenants to be able to set an expiration and a link, or to require the expiration to be 30 days. And then we would be able to iterate that in OneDrive Web and keep shipping every week. But then we will always have a hard time going and saying, hey, Office Win32, in your native experience, can you go and add this feature? And then the same thing for OneDrive iOS or the Android app. So we built this control that this time we have been able to get it across 33 different Microsoft apps. We wanted to spend more time investing in technologies, not only with React.js, but also with React Native, so that we can have experiences that can be used in iOS and Android.
The React.js is a specific language of JavaScript?
React.js is a framework that actually Facebook created.
Thomas, so it sounds like moving from application-specific development, moving into obviously understanding scenarios and being more people-centric has really driven this need for what it sounds like, a new team to develop.
Exactly.
So that with this unified team, building a unified experience, taking the end user experience first, where does that lead into when you think of this specific feature we're talking about today, which is a shared library experience inside of OneDrive?
So this notion of sharing has basically led to this concept that when it comes to your files and your document world, essentially, your document world isn't just the files in your own OneDrive. It's also the files in any team you're part of, any team you follow, users who've shared documents with you, documents you recently viewed. And it means that any of the applications you're using should be able to present that same document world to you. Because now that you can easily share content with anybody across any of these spaces, you need to be able to see it wherever you are, everything you have access to. And so classically, each of the applications has had its own little, essentially, silo of files. The files that that application's recently seen, the files that are on your computer, the files that are on your device. And while each of them has been tailored for that application's particular needs or features, it means that it's always been a rather incomplete view of what you have access to. And if OneDrive on our side is really supposed to be OneDrive for everything in your life, or OneDrive for all of your documents, then we really need to be more assertive about having OneDrive really be everywhere you are. So that means that when you're in the OneDrive application, you have access to all the content from teams who've shared contents with you or teams with which you've collaborated. When you're in a team, you actually need to be able to get back to your personal documents to bring those into your team. On a mobile device, when you go and you want to pick a document to work with, you need to be able to see your documents, your team's documents, recent documents, etc. You want all the organization you've put into your files and the representation and metadata associated with your files to be ready and available. And you want all the hard work from the team administrators who've carefully curated and organized the files in their teams with customized metadata, columns, formats, etc., to be presented in that way to you in all these applications
as
well.
OneDrive is giving you the ability to better consume, use, share of the team files that are coming from the different shared libraries, I know one of the things that we talked about at the SharePoint Conference, which complements this, is if you want to create a new shared library, that they're working on a new flow so that from within OneDrive, you need to create a new space, a new shared library, that you can more easily do that with a lot less confusion and then all the same value that you just talked about.
Yeah, certainly one of the things that has come up is that we have this concept of a team, and a team feels like a big thing. Am I really creating a team, or do I just mean to say I just want a new channel or space to share documents with people? And I think that's been part of we've been calling it sort of the namespacing effort of like, are you really creating that big heavyweight thing of a brand new team, or are you really trying to create something that's more lightweight and simple to say, here's a shared library with other people? And so I think that that's important to making it easier and less, I think, intimidating to create easily collaborative spaces with your colleague, multiple people, entire organization, focused on some purpose.
Edgar, we heard a little bit about where you've come from. I know where you are today, and I think our users will see that what feels like you're now releasing feels like the thing, but it also is just a start to the thing,
right?
Which is really neat to hear, knowing that there's a lot of work still to be done, knowing that the end user experience will just get better and more refined, is
I think, wonderful thing to hear.
Yeah, like there are many features like that we keep adding to like in SharePoint and OneDrive, like malware detection or things like that.
I think, and one big one is just no matter where you're at, if you want to take the file with you, you'll be able to sync it. So I know from Microsoft Teams, it's a new sync button that shows up, and it's that same control, same mechanism, same obviously sync client.
Right. And for sync in particular in Teams, given that we want the Teams app to be resilient and to work even if you are offline, encouraging people to like sync their channels, their library is a good thing. So we're working on improving the experience to make these scenarios, taking advantage of everything, the whole set of things that we have available.
Thomas, how has performance, besides feature set and pervasiveness, how has performance been driving the delivery of this feature?
Well, certainly performance is at the forefront of our thought when it comes to delivering this feature. Classically, the OneDrive and SharePoint websites have been hyper-tailored and optimized to deliver your files quickly. But when you're in another application, such as Microsoft Teams, which has been hyper-optimized to deliver conversations, video calls, and all these other experiences quickly, it can be a little bit of an architectural challenge to say, let's go take everything you could do in SharePoint and let's load it up in Teams. And so that's really pushed us to focus hard on when we are essentially a guest experience in another application, from an architectural perspective, we need to be much more mindful of the resources we consume in your application, because we're essentially just making every application a little bit bigger in that way. And we cannot afford to make everything too large. We need to be careful how much memory we use. We need to be careful about when we load data. But we also need to make sure the data is delivered to the user quickly. We want you to be able to see and interact with things at the same speed that you feel as when you're using things in our main applications. And so performance has become even more important than I think that it ever has been before, because we really need to deliver a lot of functionality in a constrained resource space. It becomes critical that our component to the application be reliable, be performant, and protect your data and everything else that we expect of all the apps in the Microsoft ecosystem.
My compliments to you, obviously. I've seen a lot of the progress from the early days. I know what the way past used to look like. And to sign up to do something like that and to work well with these other teams is no easy feat at Microsoft.
It's definitely been an endeavor. It's been great now as a team to say, we're not just the OneDrive and SharePoint team, we're the files team. It doesn't matter which application within Microsoft your files are doing. It's our responsibility to make it work, because it's important in the end that the customers see their same files wherever they are in every app and get the same experience, the same performance and reliability, no matter where you are. I wanted to just acknowledge that working on this project has been an incredible collaborative effort with so many people across Microsoft. Compared to some of the projects I've worked on previously, I have so many teammates in so many places. We work very tightly with people from Bangalore and Hyderabad in India, people from China, to really put this entire feature together. And so it's been a really awesome sort of international collaboration and a great cross-team collaboration. And so I think compared to anything, as I said before, I worked at Microsoft, it's just amazing how many people are invested in this particular project and bringing this around. So it's been a real treat to finally work on a project this magnitude and just sort of get to know everybody ever more.
You actually probably are using your product more than ever.
Oh, certainly.
It's a wonderful message. You're a marketer, obviously, to bring that to market is a pleasure. Talking with you, hearing the passion behind it. May 2019 is a great month for shared libraries in OneDrive. As we've already disclosed and we've heard you and Thomas talk through, there's a lot more coming, a lot more things that people know about. And I certainly know there's things that we haven't yet disclosed. We're not going to do that today, but it sounds like your team is maturing not only just as a team, but with what you're delivering to all of these other teams. There's the Microsoft Tech community for blogging, and SharePoint Conference will point to those resources. Anything top of mind that you want to call that we can put as a link?
My Twitter is Banguero, my last name, Banguero. So you can get in touch with me that way.
We'll definitely put that in the show links. Thank you both for your time. Thomas Michon and Edgar Banguero, thank you for all that you do. And of course, thanks for your time here on the Intrazone. And thanks for making the files experience throughout Microsoft 365 a great one.
Oh yeah, you're quite welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
We've got one more teamwork-related feature, and it's a big one. And it's so big, you're going to see this everywhere. Microsoft Search. This was announced at general availability at Build 2019, and it is now showing up all over the place. Microsoft Search helps you complete a task, pick up where you left off, or discover answers or insights. It applies natural language understanding, AI technology, and a deep understanding of you and your work to make search more relevant and effective. And Microsoft Search is a unified experience everywhere. You are in applications, you're already using Office, Outlook, SharePoint, OneDrive, and it's also coming to Bing and Windows, just to name a few. There's also a new admin center to help you configure Microsoft Search settings across all of your apps and services for all of your employees. So that's the end of Teamwork. That doesn't mean Teamwork stops here. That just means the May 2019 Teamwork features that we're going to cover are done. Next up, we're going to move to all of the related technologies that apply when you're working with SharePoint and those other applications that are deeply integrated and nicely interoperable. First up in related technologies is what Planner and To-Do are doing to make them a much more integrated experience. Together, To-Do and Planner help simplify work management by giving you the flexibility to use the best tool for the situation. Planner tasks that have been assigned to you will now show up in a special Assigned to Me list in To-Do, and of course this all accrues to a wonderful experience if you're using the Planner web part in SharePoint. Now you can get your tasks no matter where you're at. In the web, on the mobile, in Planner, in To-Do, tasks, tasks, tasks. Second, in related technologies, you now get notifications about your Planner task assignments in Microsoft Teams. These notifications ensure you won't have to leave Teams to stay on top of your work. We've heard you and we've gotten your feedback about using the Planner tab in Teams, and we're excited to power up the Planner in Teams experience with notifications. If you're an Office 365 Enterprise or Office 365 Education customer, you'll receive Teams notifications whenever you're assigned a Planner task. The first updated feature for the new SharePoint Admin Center is that we're bringing all the classic features into that same user experience for admins. No more do you have to turn to the classic Admin Center. Now, just look at the new Classic Features page in the left-hand pane, and it'll take you to all those classic features right in line in a single view. The second feature is Bulk Actions. You can now select multiple sites on the Active Sites page and edit them in bulk. With this release, you can delete multiple sites at once or bulk edit the external sharing and hub site association settings, and we'll continue to invest in this area so that you can do more bulk actions and get more done with 1 or 2 clicks. So the last item that I want to cover in the related section is just the fact that we just announced and disclosed a whole bunch of new features coming to SharePoint, OneDrive, Yammer, Stream, on and on. I'm talking about the SharePoint Conference, and on the Intrazone, we've talked about the SharePoint Conference a lot. Well, it's now come and gone, and that means you can go read a lot about what we just announced. So I mainly want to call your attention to 2 things. If you want to watch the keynote, that's now on demand. Just go to aka.ms/spc/summit. There you'll see not only the keynote itself on demand and all the things that Jeff Teeper and crew announced and showed. You'll see a ton of demos and a lot of context of what is the SharePoint and all those related teams. What are they doing? What are they doing next? And you also see on that page a number of different customer videos. And of course, a lot of other sessions were recorded, so you'll be able to see those on demand as well. If you prefer to read than watch, there was a parent blog that Jeff Teeper published, and you can go to that blog at aka.ms/spc/blog, and you'll get the tip of the iceberg of everything that we announced, but there are a lot of links that will go into all the different categories and workloads of all the features that we announced. So from a roadmap perspective, this is gold. SPC, here and gone, but it lives so you can learn about everything that was disclosed, and certainly for me, it's all of these future roadmap Pitstop items to come. So get your read on, get your view on, check out what we announced at SharePoint Conference 2019. That's it for related technology. Of course, there's a lot of other related technologies if you go out to the Microsoft tech community and read what's going on out there, but that's it for how and what is related to SharePoint. Next up, teasers. Thing number 1, Yammer Q&A. This is something that we announced at the SharePoint Conference, and it's coming soon. There's really 2 parts to that. You can categorize a conversation as a question, and if an answer that was provided or responded to is the right answer, you can mark it as the right response. Thing number 2 comes from Microsoft Stream. You'll now be able to record and upload videos with Stream through the mobile app. This is something that I'm personally looking forward to do because sometimes it's nice when you're out and about to record a little nugget, fire it back to your team, or just have something that makes it feel like you're right there in the event, sharing in the moment, and getting it back to whether it's just for your team or something you want to share broadly because you were at a really cool event. So make sure you have the Stream mobile app, and soon you'll be able to record and upload your videos. That's it with the teasers. We're close to the end of the pit stop. Let's apply the brakes just a little, slow it down, so that we can cover the important resources that are always available to you now and throughout the year. So let's move into the resources, places that you can turn to get the information that you need to do your job and to know what's coming. We've added a list of important resource links in the show notes based on this month's innovation. These links will assist you in learning more about the Message Center, the Microsoft 365 public roadmap, our SharePoint and OneDrive community blogs, and all things Twitter, all the places you need to get up to speed and stay ahead. And specific to this show, we'll have links to go read more about each of the features. We hope you've enjoyed this nice, smooth, speedy ride through the pit stop. Thank you for enduring all the tight turns and the tire burns of rubber. Thanks for listening to the Intrazone Roadmap Pit Stop May 2019 edition. Stay engaged, ask questions, push us to get the best information and insights you need. We're here to put both our and your best change management foot forward. Stay safe out there on the roadmap. Till next month, thank you for listening. If you want to learn more and you've just only listened to this podcast, there's a full blog with links to all sorts of things to go learn more about the features. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always ask me at mcashman on Twitter. That's MKASHMAN. Or more broadly, you can ask the SharePoint team at SharePoint through Twitter at SharePoint. SharePoint, SharePoint, SharePoint.